It is Pi Day. And while Pi Day is only half as delicious as Tau Day, it's still pretty delicious. So today I want to talk about pi, and I want to show you a pretty cool pi ruler. But first, what is pi exactly? In addition to being a tasty pastry, it's the ratio of a circle's diameter to its circumference. And that is a number that is about 3.14159, and it's irrational. But that's pi. 3.14, March 14th. Anyway, that's why it's Pi Day. So if you were doing any sort of mathematics, you're probably going to encounter pi. It's sort of like this magical, mystical, irrational little squiggle that shows up every once in a while. But pi can be very important in other applications too. For example, I have this pi here, and I don't want to share my pi. I want to build a wall around my pi. We might call it a great wall of pi. Nah.
Your music's bad and you should feel bad.
Anyway, so I want to build a wall around my pi, but I need to make sure I have enough material to build said wall around my pi. Now we live in a day and age where we all carry a supercomputer in our pocket, and we can simply ask it questions and it would give us an answer as to how much material it will take. But people didn't always live in such a day and age. There was a time when people had to figure these things out on their own. See, way back during the Roman Empire, they ate pi. And now that you're thinking about the Roman Empire, I want to show you some tool that has nothing to do with the Roman Empire. This right here is a tenor's rule. A tenor's rule is a tool that is used for measuring pi. And you might be wondering, why in the world would somebody make a ruler just to measure pi? And that's not exactly what it's for, but that's kind of what it's for. Back in the day, people needed to measure round things. They needed to know the circumference of things. People enjoyed pies before they had calculators or phones in their pockets all the time. And this was a tool that was designed to help people make round objects or cylinders or dishes without having to calculate pi and do the math every time. The ruler along the top is in inches, and it's marked out in 1/16 of an inch. And you use that to measure the diameter of an object. The rule along the bottom is the circumference of a circle that corresponds to that diameter. So if I want to know how much material I need to build a wall around my pi, I could use this ruler here and measure the diameter of my pi, which is just about 9 inches. Then I would take some sort of straight edge or something to line it up, but then I would go up here to 9 inches, and straight down at the bottom, this is the circumference in 1/8 of an inch. So I have here 28 and 28 1/4. That would be the circumference of my pi. And let's see if that's correct. And it would seem that the diameter of my pi is in fact about 28 1/4 inches. And right now you might be thinking, that's great if you wanted to build a wall around a pi. But what other reason could you really have for a measure or a rule that is just for measuring and telling you the circumference of circles? And that's where we flip this over to the other side. You see, this is a tenor's rule, or a tinsmith's rule. And a tinsmith would be the person who made things out of tin, cups and bowls and dishes and pans and all sorts of things. If I'm a tinsmith and I'm making things out of tin, how do I know that my 1 cup is the same as everyone else's 1 cup? Well, we know it needs to hold 8 ounces, but I need to know, how do I get an 8-ounce cup? And that's where this rule comes in. It's on the back here, there's a bunch of tables. These tables have numbers on them for a number of different cups and containers, the whole different sizes or different amounts of things. So up at the top, it has measurements for liquid measures. Amount that it holds, in this case it's in pints, so it starts at a 1/4 pint, a 1/2 pint, 1 pint, and then it goes to quarts, gallons, and then we get into other types of measurements. And so it gives you the diameter of the top, the diameter of the bottom, and then the height of the object. So if I know the diameter of the top of my cup, the diameter of the bottom, and the height of my cup, then I can cut that piece of tin. I can make that piece to make this shape, And I know that that cylinder, or that cone, I guess, truncated cone, if it's a tapered cup like this, then that is going to make a cup. And in this case, with those measurements, it's going to hold a half a pint for this one, or 1 cup. I'm assuming in all of the years since this, there's probably some lost tricks to the trade of tinsmithing that I don't understand. And there certainly is a lot more math that goes into making a cup than just simply drawing some lines and cutting out a shape. One of the issues that I had was reading these measurements for flaring measures. What I think of a flaring cup is something like this, that's wider at the top than it is at the bottom. All of the measurements on this ruler, though, give measurements for something like this that is wider at the bottom than it is at the top. If somebody is a tinsmith, please leave me some comments. Let me know how exactly that works. Some of them are more straightforward, though, like dry measures or straight-sided measures, flat-topped cans. We could make a 1-gallon can, has a diameter of 6 3/4, and it is 6 3/4 inches tall. Seems simple enough.
A few inches later.
So that right there is a cylinder, 6 3/4 inch in diameter, 6 3/4 inches tall, and that should hold 1 gallon of something. And so that is a tenner's rule. It's one of those things that you don't really think about needing because we live in a world where we don't need things like this. We can just ask an AI to explain to us the amount of material we would need to put a wall around our pie, and it would tell us exactly the length of material that we would need and probably how to construct it most effectively. You guys let me know what you think. Let me know what your favorite kind of pie is. I'm more of a cheesecake person myself. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you next time.